Take my hand and we'll make it.
Whoom, 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 whoom,
We're recording, by the
whoom.
way. You know what got me into that song though? It was one of the Garage Band or Guitar Hero. It was Guitar Hero, like World Tour. That was one of like the songs, and it was one of the first ones I learned how to play. And when you're trash at a game like that, you just end up learning the song.
It expands your music discography, that's for sure, of what you have in the chamber. That same thing happened with us. We had Rock Band, and I played the drums. Justice played the Justice sang, and then my brother Taurus, he played the guitar, and we learned a ton of songs. Like Creep is like one of those songs that we learned that I really just like fell in love with, like after playing that game. Buddy Holly, it's a couple of songs. Yeah.
You know, Activision, whoever the hell came up with those games, because you know the same people came up with both.
Yeah.
Company buys the technology, fires the people. They go develop the technology elsewhere, all of that. But that was great for the revival of like 80s rock, because
and 90s grunge.
True, because a black man like me would not listen to those songs on my own. But it enhanced my life and my relatability as I got older. Like when you're going to the DC bars, like DuPont, not U Street where our folks go.
Yeah.
You're down in DuPont Circle or Square, whatever it is. And Living on a Prayer comes on and you're singing it word for word, loud as hell. Oh, this guy, he's cool. He's one of us. No, I'm not. I just like the song.
It did that. And see, and for us, it was such an impressionable time too, because that's when we switched to private school. So, you know, then we didn't look weird if we were going out with the friends, like, or going to somebody's house and they're playing that bullshit. And we're like, what the fuck is this? They like playing rap anyways, for what it's worth, right? And doesn't it feel like it's kind of the opposite, right? Like of how for us, when we hear, we're like, yeah, we can really appreciate this, but it's the same way with them too, to where they're like, I want to get into hip hop. Like I want to like I listen to some rap, like, damn, like, yeah, you know this song. And then they'll play some song and we're like, yeah, bro, we know the fucking song. Yeah.
Remix to Ignition. I remember the video.
Yeah. I also remember the video he dropped before that. I never saw that video, but there was other videos as well.
No, I never saw it either.
Yeah.
You know the wild thing about that video though? We were young enough when it came out to not be creeps for watching it. Because for one, we were too stupid to know, and we were also kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I feel like if you just Google search that, the FBI is going to show up at your house.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm going to stay away from that.
I don't even think we should open up on this guy. Actually,
yeah, he doesn't deserve our time. Instead, we got somebody else that we can pop up on, right?
No, you just left a comment.
Did I?
Yeah, you left a comment. You didn't hit the chat. Oh yeah, because you got Godfather roles now. So yeah, like you just left a comment on the video.
Oh, well, you believe it, because I don't know how.
Kay apologize.
I don't want to ban myself either, you know. But
you didn't say anything wrong.
Yeah, well, either way,
I can't. It only says ban user and delete their comments.
I know, and that's why I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, it's gonna sit there. It's not inappropriate.
Okay, well, either way,
it's too late to apologize.
Yeah, it's not though in this case.
No.
I wanted to issue a public apology to Woach Wine, also known as Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, Falcon Great. Look, you got the jersey on. Yeah, I wanted to issue an apology to him and the Colorado football program because they made an ass out of me because I made an assumption. And my assumption was that this program would look, you know, brand new, but brand new not in that type of way. My expectation for them was to go out there to play well, but to ultimately get it handed to them because they're going against a program that's coming off the national championship. And I knew that obviously that TCU was missing a lot of those guys that were on there, but man, Shedeur Sanders, guy. He's a guy. That's a guy. Like, that is a guy. Now, I'm not going to overreact like a lot of people did and have him in the top 10 in their 2024 mock draft. I'm not there yet. But boy, did he set the stage to be in that conversation by the end of the season if he can continue up with that. Obviously, he's not going to throw for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns every week. But, I mean, what a hell of a start. And then let's not even get started on the number 1 pick in the 2025 draft with Travis Hunter. That boy is a certified savage.
No, he's a dog.
That is a can't miss prospect type player.
Bro. He just thinking about both of them, right? Let's start with Shedeur because that's where you started. 3-star prospect, had the major offers coming out, dominated at the FCS level, as expected. First FBS game back in his home state of Texas. He sets records at University of Colorado. Has his best game of his life. And in the post-game presser, he goes, I don't see numbers. I don't see letters. You know, I like that. But what impressed me most about Shedeur were the high-level throws that he made in the high-pressure moments.
Yeah.
You know, think with him being Deion's son, you'd think he'd be more of a running quarterback.
No.
Just a the way a dummy would think, oh, he's Deion's son, he's fast, he plays quarterback. I don't even know if he's fast, but
because
he doesn't.
He didn't fucking see it because he sat there in the pocket, precision. Just, I mean,
he
was
scrambles,
really impressive, man.
He scrambles. His scrambling is more alike a prime Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not saying it's to that level. It's I'm gonna run to extend the play to still drop a dime. And some of those, bro, that one throw that he dropped in the bucket, almost off his back foot, you go, son. Those are the throws that get you put in the top 10 mock draft, right? It's like, oh, you made that throw in that situation.
Those are Dilfer's dimes.
Yeah, and I think that was just what was so impressive was, oh no, this kid got it. Like he has the poise, the composure. He looks the part. He has the size, and
the pedigree. Like that's not even like you know, some people like to call it nepotism, right? And in the case of at least an athlete, right? Like you kind of just are God gifted because your dad was, and he knows how to train you up because he was an athlete, so he knows what type of workouts you need to be doing, what they're looking for, and all this. He's got that pedigree. He's got Prime's pedigree. Because look, Prime had other sons too that played ball, but they weren't that. I mean, you know, Michael Jordan had sons that played ball, but they weren't that. He's got that. He's got the pedigree of Prime.
And when Prime talks about him, he's like, oh, he loves it. He loves to work. He's taking the receivers out, throwing passes. You know, obviously that's his pops. I'm sure he is allowed to come to his dad's house on a daily basis. Think about how much film time that he gets to get and how much work and how much instruction he gets from his coach. That's not registered hours because that's his dad.
Yeah.
You know, and Joel Klatt was talking about Coach Prime, and his DC came over from Alabama. And Klatt was saying that he's about 96 or 98, I can't remember exactly, but it was either 96 or 98% Saban. In the way that he's relentless, the way he runs his program. And I think in a lot of the Deion criticism was that because he's flashy, they think that he's flashy every day and he's flashy in his approach. But if you listen to Deion talk about himself and his career, and you see how this team, bro, they didn't have many penalties. They were running hurry up offense in week 1 of college football. No preseason. Brand new system, bunch of transfer players. That only comes from a coach who is very deliberate with his team.
And just defensively. Now, obviously, the defense was the least impressive part because of how great the offense looked. It kind of overshadowed it because they gave up 42 points, but they were on the road against a Big 12 offense. And at the end of the day, they made the plays when they needed to make the plays. Travis Hunter's pick, he sees the ball. He makes that play. Now, people fail to realize, too, they picked them off in the red zone. Goal line type situations is when they were making these plays. They made the timely play. So that was the one thing, if you could take away anything from that defense, they made the plays when they needed to make the plays. Yeah, you hate to go with the Dan Quinn, bend, don't break type mantra, but that's exactly what it was. And they made the plays when they needed to make the plays. That's why they won the game.
And think about the pick. Travis Hunter's in man. He comes off of his man to pick it off in the flat, right? The quarterback made the right read. It's similar to almost to the Russell Wilson play, right? Obviously not that high of pressure and all of that, or the Malcolm Butler play. I should give Malcolm Butler credit.
I got it out the field, fuck Russell.
But
I knew you were going there.
He comes off of his man, and again, this is not my analysis. This is analysis that I picked up from someone smarter than me. They were in man, but they passed off their men, right? This is week 1, and they actually properly executed the pass off, which means they practiced it, which means they talked through it, which means they watched film. You know what I mean? Like they watched the new OC because they got a new OC, but they also watched TCU film, right? Like they watched what they do in this situation because they had 2 red zone picks, right?
Yep.
That's coaching. Like the red zone picks, being in the right place, making the right call, that is coaching. And I think the biggest thing that needs to be said about Coach Prime, and it goes back to Prime the player, Prime studied, right? Look good, play good. I put in the time. It's not just I can go in anybody's living room and woo their mom and woo them to make them want to come play for me.
Yeah.
Because you go back to I'm bringing my luggage and it's Louis. You don't get to say that if you can't bring Louis luggage.
Yep. And
that can't be the New York, that can't be the Times Square Louis.
Yeah. And another thing too, with a guy like Prime, he seems like he's genuinely got relationships with his guys, right? And I don't want to compare it to AAU ball, but you know how with the coach can be so cool and buddy like that. That's how I feel about Coach D. He's one of those guys where even when I was a kid, it felt like he was for the players, but he could be with the parents and it'd be a good time. And he'd tell them this is our expectation. He has a culture that he's already implemented, and Colorado's, they're only going to get better off of it. And, once we get to the college picks, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised in what direction I go with them this week.
Yeah, man, I'm just shout out to you for coming on the platform and apologizing. Joshua Holsey would never, ever apologize for being wrong. But, we hold ourselves.
I had a boo-boo. Look, it happens. And I'm man enough to say I was 100% wrong. I mean, not even a little wrong. I was 100% wrong. He made a believer out of me. If I didn't already believe, he made a believer out of me.
And honestly, I thought you believed. I thought
I believed that he was going to get it turned around. I didn't expect that in week 1. No, I didn't.
And I think that's reasonable. Now, I do think the national media has overcorrected on their Prime takes. Hey, I get it. He gets numbers. If he likes you, he'll come on your show. He went on Pat McAfee. He went on Undisputed.
Well, you got to remember, too, Prime used to be a media guy. I mean, he worked for NFL Network. He used to do the Thursday night games all the fucking time.
And he had the Sunday night show with LaDainian Tomlinson, Michael Irvin, and Shannon Sharp. One of the best shows.
You know, that's the crazy part too. Prime has a 3-part way of looking at this. He knows the playing side, he knows the coaching side, and he knows the fucking media side of it. Who better would you want kind of getting your kids and preparing them for that next level when he can say, I know it from every angle, that everything that you want or everything that you're going to see, I already know.
I know it. And guess what? Whatever position your son plays, I can get the best living person at that position at practice. I can get that person to watch their
film. Give him his number, and then it'll be up to your son to take that baton that I'm handing. He's got to run it to him, but here's that baton. I handed it off to him. Now, what's he going to do with it?
Exactly.
You know? You can work out with T.O. Terrell Owens still works out. He'll work out with you. If you want to get out to California and work out with him, he'll work out with you.
Shannon been on campus. Shannon Sharp's been on campus. Warren Sapp was on campus recently. Brady texted Shedeur after the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know Brady's in charge of Delta's something there now. Delta just hired him. They had a news conference and everything. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Tampa Bay, and he'll be Atlanta Tom these days.
Good for him. What else did I see? I saw hey, why does the 4-Letter Network give their money to Chris Mad Dog Russo? Do they only bring him on because they know he'll say wild stuff and he has enough credibility? He has enough time in the game that
Russo does he? How does he even really have the credibility? I feel like his credibility comes from a place of just tenure, as opposed to I can't ever. Now, granted, I didn't grow up in New York and I didn't listen to New York Sports Talk Radio. I knew who he was, but like, what does Mad Dog really know? You know what I mean? I feel like he's just been a guy that's been a critic for a long time. He will say what's on his mind, which is what people want to hear, right? People that are keeping it 100. What does he fucking know, man? This is the same dude. I remember when he did his top 5 like champions list. He like put like the 1946 Detroit Red Wings as one of the greatest teams ever. It is just like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? For real. like what are you talking about? Seriously. And it isn't because he brought up something from a non-modern era, but it's just like, bro, what is your basis on this? You were fucking 5 when that, like, you know what I mean? Like you didn't even really watch that shit. So what are you talking about? It's stuff like that that irks me about him. But
he's less good Skip Bayless. They look alike. They say wild stuff, but Mad Dog's wild stuff isn't as good as Skip's wild stuff, and Skip looks healthier. But hey, shout out to Coach Prime. Yeah. Best of luck to you. But it's now time to talk about another coach. And I just want to put this up here, this disclaimer, because it's about to get ugly.
Viewers' discretion is advised.
The floor is yours, Parlay Pete.
Well, I'm sure that everybody that is watching this would actually wonder what that NC-17 adults only sticker was up there for. It's because we're about to talk about punk ass fucking Dabo Swinney. That's why. You know, the motherfucker that thinks that the transfer portal is bad, NIL is bad. We don't need all that here at Clemson. Yes, the fuck you do, man. You just got done getting your ass fucking handed to you by a basketball program.
With high academic standards.
With high academic standards. Right. Basically the Georgia Tech of North Carolina. I mean, let's call it really what it is. That's who beat you. Georgia Tech, North Carolina. That's who the fuck just beat you. You lost to a team like that. And not only that, you put up 7 points. And let's start off. How did they even get those 7 points, you ask? A fucking muff punt. The one thing that Duke did wrong all night, they muffed the punt and gave them a short field. They gave them 18 yards to score. I would hope that a bunch of 4 and 5 stars could at least do that. And they were able to get it done. That was the only 7 points they scored. It was a pathetic display of offense. The defense honestly did hold up its end. I didn't think the defense really was that bad. There were a couple of plays, obviously, that they gave up, like Duke's quarterback getting that run. It was like a 3rd and 8. And he broke a tackle and took it 45 yards. But this isn't about the kids. This is about Dabo. All right. And his his mindset going into college football off seasons, and then his game planning for people like fucking Duke, not taking games serious and just showing up and just thinking that there's a Clemson way. You know that there used to be a saying called Clemsoning, right? Right? Everybody used to talk about Clemsoning. Yeah, that's the fucking Clemsoning that we're talking about. They're back, baby. They're exactly what we thought they were. I lost a ton of money on that game. I didn't lose a ton of money. I lost a ton of potential earnings because of that game. Because Dabo couldn't get his fucking troops together. Fuck you, Dabo. Seriously.
Dumbass dipshit Dabo.
Fucking hick. I mean,
DS Dabo Swinney. Maybe we should change to dipshit Swinney, you know?
Or maybe dick sucker. I mean, which one do you prefer? I mean, because that's what it looked like he was doing. It looked like he was giving Duke a fucking blowy on the sideline. Your quarterback sucks too, Nick. Like, it wasn't DJ, and let's bring this up too. It wasn't DJU's fault. And now we see what DJU had to deal with. He was the one taking all the criticism for that shit last season. It's DJU's fault. DJU looked like a fucking, now granted, it was San Jose State, but he still looked like a dude out there. 5 total touchdowns, 300 yards. He looked like a dude. Cade Klubnik fucking looked like a guy that fucking just got done playing high school football yesterday. You know what I mean? That's what it looked like to me. And he better, look, Dabo better be, he needs to give Deshaun Watson a fucking massage, okay? Because that's who he owes for his success. I don't think that Cartersville's own Trevor Lawrence even goes to Clemson if a guy like Deshaun wasn't necessarily there either, having the success that he had before he committed. Thank Deshaun Watson, Dabo Swinney, and you count your days, because Clemson, they're going to hold on to you for a few more years just because, but that program's going down the shitter, all right?
Kiss that Alabama job goodbye.
Lee, you got the floor.
You know, back during the COVID times, the social justice times, I did a bit saying Clemson needs to divorce Dabo. And this had nothing to do with football. It was his stance on not wanting his football players to be involved in social justice. I don't have a problem with you not wanting your players to protest in your building, on your field, in your arena. I have no issue with that. Hey, this is your place of business. It's time to come do work. We do football here. Leave your personal shit at home. I'm okay with that. But if a player on his off time decides he wants to go stand up for a cause that he believes in, and you're against that, that tells me how you feel about your players. That tells me how you feel about the cause. And Dabo, you didn't hit big in the oil field like Jerry did to amass the fortune to buy your franchise. You played some college ball, you coached, but as you started coaching, Black players were the players who helped elevate you to where you are. And you brought up Clemson. This is the new Clemsoning. Dabo's dumbass doing dipshit types of shit. It's going to get Clemson dusted, destroyed, however you want to put it, demolished. Going to get him dethroned because you're against NIL. You say if we start paying players, you're going to walk away from the game. Well, fucking walk. Go fucking walk. Go to the NFL where they actually need you to coach X's and O's. You can't do it.
Well, that's obvious.
You don't want to hit the transfer portal because you think it's bad for college football. Dabo, if Saban retires tomorrow and Alabama offers you the job, you'll be in Tuscaloosa on the first fucking private jet out of Clemson. You might fly commercial just because you don't want to wait on the Alabama jet to get you there, you know? So what Dabo's doing is disgusting, but it's deserved. You know, if you don't want to adjust to the times, you get left behind. Dabo's an iPod in 2023. You had your value in your day. You were great in your day. What the fuck am I gonna do with an iPod now when I can get music on my phone, when I can stream music from my phone? I don't even download music, you know? I don't buy music, I stream it.
Hell, were you really even great in your day in reality, or were you really just kind of the only person that was able to do what you could do? And in his case, you recruited 2 generational college football quarterbacks to your program that you guys never had before. You were working with Taj Boyd before this. You know what I mean? And you were getting Taj Boyd results. You were winning 10 games, but you were losing 3.
Yeah, he
That's
was
not national championship ball. You got undefeated guys that don't fucking lose games in college.
And as I just think about it, I said just a while back, Dabo doesn't develop quarterbacks, right? And when I remember listening to somebody break down Trevor Lawrence's game when he got to the league. They were like, he's a one side of the field reader. He doesn't process the full field. He processes only one side. So he processes what's on that one side. And you go, well, damn, Dabo. What are y'all doing there? I get it. It wins games at Clemson. That's great. College quarterback, college coach. Cool. You're not necessarily worried about getting guys to be great professional players. You just want to win games and get them to the league. Dabo doesn't develop the position. Kelly Bryant didn't work. DJU didn't work. Kate Clubden's not working. But what got me most hot and bothered by Dabo was I was listening to Pat McAfee earlier this week, and they were talking about bringing in Garrett Riley, fucking Stinky Link's brother, to be the OC. And Dabo said, we're going to teach him the Clemson offense. Dabo, you bring in the brother of the best offensive mind in college football, arguably one of the best offensive minds in football today, cut from the same cloth, came from the same fucking nutsack, came out of the same womb, talk on a regular basis, shoot the shit with each other, just had TCU blowing up the fucking Big 12 and Jim Harbaugh in the playoffs. And you say, hey, I hired you here to teach you how to run offense my way. Dabo, you're a dipshit. You're a fucking dipshit. And you deserve every damn thing that happens to you in Death Valley. And I hope you go to die. Not literally, but figuratively.
And I think that you're giving them too much credit by calling that Death Valley. That place is that's not the real Death Valley. Just like
no, they're not the real Tigers.
Real USC.
Yeah, but you know, we'll get to other Death Valley in a minute. But fucking, when you don't want to adjust with the times, you become Bobby Knight. If Dabo comes sits on my couch, Coach Prime sits on my couch. You know what, Dabo? You probably don't get to sit on my couch. You probably got to stand up when you come to my house. We're only entertaining Dabo because the kid likes Clemson and all this other bullshit. Dabo, we're getting McDonald's when you come. We're not cooking for you, Dabo. Coach Prime, what do you want? You want barbecue? You want soul food? You want to go out to a steakhouse? How you want to, Coach Prime? It's on us. We're grateful to have you here, Dabo. Dabo, eat before you come. You know what? Bring some food, and we're not going to eat it. We already ate.
Better yet, we're all sitting at the table. Dabo, if you want something to drink, you can go and get in the fridge. You can go get it out the fridge. Coach Prime's here. Prime, let me get you something.
I just think it's absolutely disgusting what Dabo's doing down there in Clemson, and it's unfortunate for the players because they were sold a dream from a guy who had achieved a lot of success. But ultimately, I don't believe he gives a damn about the success of his players. He doesn't care about growing his program. He only cares about Dabo. And what y'all wanted to give Deion and say that it's all about him, it's all about Coach Prime, it's not about the guys, that's what y'all should be doing to Dabo. And media, y'all let Dabo off easy this week. You let him off easy this week. I didn't hear anybody destroying Dabo. Now, my boy did. Coach Paul Feinbaum. He got right with him. But all I know is my man Pervin Urban Meyer is licking his chops right now, looking at all these programs that are in need of some herb. Just crumbling herb. He done his Swamp Kings revival tour to build back up his image. He's over here making great picks on Big Noon Saturday. Urban Meyer coming to a sideline near you.
I tell you what, quick question for you. And I know whose loss was more disappointing. Certainly, Clemson's loss was more disappointing. Who looked worse? Florida losing to a backup Utah quarterback and not even being competitive, or Clemson and Dabo Swinney at Duke?
Let's just throw LSU in there too, and Brian Kelly shit the bed.
Well, here's the thing: Florida State was good.
Yeah, Dabo.
Florida State's good. Like that, let's not act like they didn't lose to Florida State the year before. Florida State's good.
Yeah, Dabo by far.
Like Utah's not going to a national championship, neither is Duke. but Clemson and Florida are the bigger programs, right? Like Florida State, LSU, about the same type of program. Yeah. So that's like, yeah, it was embarrassing for them to get beat, but they just came off overachieving. Clemson already they underachieved last year, and Florida underachieved last year, and it looked like that stench just fucking carried over. They were just as smelly. Honestly, they might have been a little bit smellier because AR-15 is getting ready to start a game on Sunday, and DJ, you looked great on last Sunday, but for whatever reason, the results were still the same, and they got rid of these guys that were supposed to be kind of hindering the program, I guess, to a degree.
Dabo's standard is higher. People want to put Dabo in the Nick Saban conversation. They had him above Kirby Smart for a while. You might end up looking at Dabo down there like Jimbo Fisher.
You know, this year, Jimbo, it's the put up or shut up year for Jimbo, though. So, like,
Dabo or Jimbo? Tell me your favorite hit. Dabo or Jimbo?
Jimbo, because Jimbo's still paying niggas. So, like, I'll take Jimbo over Dabo today.
All right, man.
Today, I'll take Jimbo over Dabo. That was just, let me tell you. And look, Jimbo didn't bring in our boy Bobby Petrino to have him learn Jimbo's offense. He brought him in to run his offense. So give me the edge to Jimbo, because Jimbo clearly was like, man, I've lost my fastball. Take it from here. I'm just going to be here to manage. You run your offense. Instead, Dad was like, all right, welcome to Clemson. This is the Clemson way. And if you don't want to be the Clemson way, then leave. But then again, you wouldn't have signed here without already knowing that, right? And that's what Dabo fucking said. And it showed. It showed. That I'm not giving them that 7 that they scored. They didn't really score that 7. Duke's deep. That might as well have been a fucking pick 6, scoop and score. That might as well have been what that was. They didn't score any points, Lee. And they had 2 field goals blocked. If I'm not mistaken, I think that they went for it on 4th down like 3 or 4 times and only got 1. It was just bro. I think I've seen paint dry better than that offense.
Dabo's offense is illegal in many states after 6 weeks. Hey, but let's hit a couple other college football topics. Brian Kelly, you fucked me, buddy. You fucked me real good. You took me out back on a Friday night after a couple of fucking shots of tequila, and you just railed me to my fucking walls bled, dude. The fuck?
That's a bit extreme. I think it was a little bit more like Old Yeller getting taken back to the shed. That's a little bit better, because anything about a national championship
is dead.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because
they have to run the table.
They're not going to run the table. Exactly. They have to play Alabama. I mean, Ole Miss. Like these aren't slouch schools. Texas A&M's got to put up a better game against them this year, right? And of course, even if they're able to get through that gauntlet, they still have to play Georgia. So it's like, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Maybe Jaden Daniels gets benched early enough, though, to where you get to see his highly touted. I guess this year he's a sophomore. Maybe he'll get some spin once they lose that second game.
Jaden Daniels ain't that good, man. But we knew that, right? Didn't mean you know that?
Hey, Jordan. Yeah, I knew it. Jordan, which is why I took Florida State last week. I think Jordan Travis was better. I thought Florida State offensively was going to be able to kind of do what they did. And even against – and I'll give LSU this. They were missing their best defensive player, too.
Their best defensive player was playing linebacker.
Well, there's that guy. But then there's the nose tackle, too. I forget Buddy's name, but he was suspended for the game.
So –
and he's a big deal. Like, he's a first-round talent type defensive tackle. So, like,
BK going for the 2 4th downs early in the first half, it ruined the game for him.
Yeah.
You have those 6 points on the board. Florida State's offense looks different. There's more pressure, more need to execute because they were moving the ball. Jaden Daniels, you can't take that sack.
There's being aggressive, and then there's being too aggressive.
There's being aggressive, and then there's being third coach fired this year. What's my man's name out there in LA, San Diego?
Brandon Staley.
Yeah, there's being aggressive, there's being Brandon Staley, and Brandon Staley is short for bullshit, right? BS is bullshit, right? Yeah. Brian Kelly. Bruh, blood, you're killing yourself. What you doing? So I just thought I disagreed with those decisions in the moment because you just sapped so much momentum you had because your offense was running. Your offense was working.
Yeah, they were moving the ball down the field, and the game was still to the point at where it wasn't like it was 0-0, and then 7-7 when he did him. And it was still really early. If you take the 3, you go up in both cases. And, I will say this. I'm not even mad he went for them because these were like 4th and 3 and 4th and 2. Like, this was shit that you could get. It wasn't like he went for it. Like, Brandon Staley will go for it on 4th and 8 at his own 35 30. And then think everybody is supposed to be, like, amused by that shit or something. And, look, he's lucked up a couple times and got it, but after it didn't work the first time, you figured the second time, hey, let's just take the lead. Hey. They've got to kick a field goal to tie it, and if they score a touchdown, okay, we're down 4. Like,
Brandon Staley is the natural-bodied stripper in Atlanta who wants to work Magic City's Monday night late shift. Hey, shorty, I get it. You're here. I don't really know why you're here. But I'm not here for you. Not amused.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that. That's not that isn't what everybody's here for. We're here for something else.
Move out to the West Coast where your natural body works, and baby, you'll get paid. Here, you're paying to work tonight, and that's about all you're going to make. Hopefully you can pole dance. Somebody appreciates pole dancing and throws money. But we're here for the twerkers with the big fake asses.
More importantly, I don't know if you're going to be able to cover the wings. so then not only are you paying to be here damn near, but you're going to leave with an empty stomach too. and nobody wants to be hungry and fucking broke. That's a terrible combination to have in this world.
Yeah, that's poverty.
That's what BK left Orlando as.
Hungry
broke,
broke
because he had no wins, and hungry because now he's got to win more.
Is there anything else in college football you want to touch before we hit a quick little Caleb Williams bit?
We can touch on Georgia just for a second. I thought that Kirby
Blame Bobo.
It was as if, and I don't know if it was, and that's what I was kind of leaning towards, that maybe it was more Mike Bobo, but the offense definitely didn't look explosive as it had been prior. And look, Georgia's expectations, the new norm has changed in terms of our expectation. The expectation was to always win a national championship, but now when that is the only thing that you can do, you're in a tough position. So expectations are going to be sky high, and everybody's going to always think Georgia has to look a certain way. It's the new norm now. But, you know, I didn't expect them to cover. They had their spread. They didn't have their spread open up until Saturday morning. It was 50. And I thought that was just ridiculous anyways. And the over-under was 56. So it was just like, so, you know, what the fuck? You know, yeah. Basically, they're going to win this game 53-3 is what you're saying. And so I did not expect them to cover that spread, but I expected the offense to look a lot better in the first half. I'm glad we got to see Gunnar Stockton and Brock Vandagriff. Brock Vandagriff's got some wheels. Yeah. Gunnar Stockton does too. Gunnar Stockton was kind of shifty. Like, I was impressed to finally get to see those guys. You know, Carson Beck looked okay. I get it. It was like his first start. So, like, I mean, I kind of expected him to not have this fluid, you know, 370 yards, 5 touchdown type game. But I do wish that they looked a little bit better. They looked very beatable. And, yeah, if you put that future bet in for Georgia, I mean, I'm still with you. Like, I'm still riding it. But I don't know. They look beatable. They look beatable. They look like if Florida State played them, they would have lost, too.
I think we take a step back this year, win the East, lose 1 or 2, good bowl game, and then we come back strong with the Dylan, whatever his last name kid is, who that Buford, the 5-star.
I think they're still a playoff team. I think they lose based on how it looks. They look like they'll lose the SEC championship game, probably to Bama. And that'll be their only loss. They get in, they'll throw them in at 3, and then they'll play Florida State, or it won't be Ohio State. That's another team, just to briefly talk about. Piss poor. They suck. Ryan Days, he needs to count his days. He needs to count his days. Yeah, nothing in there. Exactly. There's that covers Bear, baby. When you start talking about you got 2 top 10 wide receivers, basically 2 best wide receivers that are going to be coming out in the draft this year, your guys can't get 40 yards combined. That's an issue, man. That is a big issue. You're lucky you played Indiana and that you didn't fucking play, I don't know, maybe your counterparts that are getting ready to come to the Big Ten, like a Washington or a USC, a UCLA, or something like that. Because that 23-3 shit wouldn't have gotten it against any of those teams. None of them. They would have been sweating bricks to win that game.
You know, Ryan Day gets lumped up with Urban a lot. But he is a Brian Kelly guy. And this Ohio State team, as the stench of Herb has worn off, it starts to smell more like, not Brian Kelly, I'm sorry, Chip Kelly. It starts to smell more like Chip Kelly every day. More finesse than physical. And, dog, football is a physical sport. You can have great finesse players, but you have to be physical in the right places in order to sustain success. And one thing we know about Herb, he's physical. Sometimes too physical with his kicker or young ladies at his chop house, but Herb is physical.
Yeah.
And
one thing for sure, he definitely likes to get his hands in there.
Yeah, and I haven't seen a day that Ryan's ever wanted to get his hands in there and get physical, you know. So I'm telling you, Herb's licking his chops this offseason, man.
Well, you want to know who was licking their chops just as much while he was sitting at home after he watched his team get their victory? Jim Harbaugh. He was like, oh boy. He's like, I get to go for a trifecta against this motherfucker to end my career at Michigan. I can leave beating him 3 times in a row, and there's nothing anyone can say to me. After he saw that performance, I know he knows Michigan's better than him.
Bro, if Jim goes 3, if he wins his last 3 days out of there, Day and Dabo gonna be in the unemployment line taking just think about this, right? If Dabo and Day are looking for jobs, where do they go? Because they have to go to like a winnable program, but I don't think they get to land. Maybe Dabo does, but he shouldn't. At a top tier program, right? Like
they would still get a power. Well, what will now be the Power 4? He would still get a Power 4 job. If Matt Rule can leave, or you could argue that the Nebraska job is better than the Temple job and the Baylor job.
It's the best job.
If you can leave and then flunk out in the fucking NFL and then get that job. Now Nebraska's pretty fucking desperate too, and they really did need a culture changer. But if he can get that type of job, Ryan Day can get that type of job. Somebody will get Ryan Day can coach at Indiana. Indiana will hire Ryan Day.
I think they get good jobs, but I think they have to go to a job where 9 wins is a good year to then try to go back and get a national championship level job.
Funny enough, I think that Dabo would still get they would give him that. Dabo's got 2. So like he would get one of those jobs. He's got 2. Ryan Day doesn't have any.
Dabo will get the job, but then they'll regret it days after. It's like whoa.
Yeah,
we've got a $50 million ready to spend.
Yeah, pretty much. But are you ready to get into these college football 6-pack?
Last thing before the college football 6-pack, Caleb Williams is trying to pull a Eli Manning and a John Elway. I don't believe it.
Oh, yeah. I don't believe it either, because I saw a USC quarterback do something similar, not making those comments, but going back to school after they were pretty much going to be the number 1 pick. His name is Matt Barkley.
His name is Matt Barkley.
Matt Barkley. Well, same with Matt Leinart, but Matt Leinart salvaged it and still went, top 10, right? But like Matt Barkley went from, oh yeah, he's the number 1 pick in the draft, to, man, this guy is going to be a 4th round pick that, maybe he's got a career as a backup in this league, in which I guess he's kind of been a backup. Hasn't been very serviceable, but he's been a backup. Somebody's still paying him. I know he was with the Bills or something last. I don't know if he was there last year or not, but yeah, those are big time mistakes, and nobody's going to turn down, $38-40 million guaranteed just because they don't want to move to Phoenix and play with Marvin Harrison Jr., because the Cardinals also have the Texans pick next year. And they're pretty much both going to be top 5 picks, and we know that. So, like, good chance that Marvin Harrison could be joining whomever the Cardinals decide to draft, because we do know that Kyler Murray is going to be gone.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I do believe that Caleb Williams would like to go to a stable franchise, and his dad is speaking for him. He ain't going back.
Well, the best he could do is Eli Manning in the situation and just force the trade. He can't – to say that he's going to go back, I don't believe that one bit. Now, to say that him and his people are going to tell, like, the Cardinals, no, we're not working out with you, all this, that, and the third, I could see that. But, like, to say that he's just going to go back to school another year, no, I don't fucking believe that.
If I'm Bidwell, I don't give a damn if you work out with me or not. I'm drafting you.
Bidwell might not even be there. No, I'm tripping. Not Bidwell. Keim's not going to be there.
Keim's gone already.
No, hold on. Kyler, Cliff. Okay, yeah, you're right. Kyler's the only one that's still there. I'm tripping.
Yeah, it's only K left.
KKK is going to be. They're going to be completely obsolete regardless.
And maybe they become a better organization because they finally got rid of the KKK. But yeah, let's get to this piping hot college 6-pack. How'd you do last week?
4-2 for week 1. I think that's a win. We're 66%. We'll take it. Like I said, the prime one burned, and then of course South Carolina looked more like the South Carolina of the first 6 weeks last year than they did of the last 6 weeks. So,
well, fill me up, Buttercup, and don't break my heart.
We got ourselves a college football 6-pack. I think that with this 6-pack, I'm going to personally guarantee a 6-0 because I feel that much better now after we've gotten week 1 out of the way. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to shock people and a lot of things that aren't going to shock people. But I think that we've got ourselves a winner this week. We're going for 6-0. All right, let's start it off. We're going to start off with the game of the week. We got Texas at Alabama. Give me the over. I'm going to take over 54. I really like the points to get scored. Both of the offenses seemed like they got off the really slow starts. Obviously with Saban and Alabama, I think they played, was it Middle Tennessee? No, they didn't play Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, they played Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, okay, Middle Tennessee. I don't know why I'm confusing them with who Georgia played. But nonetheless, slow start offensively. Texas played Rice. Rice had JT Daniels, and it was 16-3 at the half or something like that. I expect Sark and them to kind of get it together, and I expect this to be a preview of what we're going to get to see in the coming years between Texas and Alabama and the SEC. So we're going to take the over 54 in this game. Did not want to touch the spread. I have who I think is going to win, but didn't want to touch the 7-point spread. So we're going to go over 54. Next, I already apologized to Prime, and for whatever reason, this number just keeps dropping. I thought it would go up. It's even lower than it was yesterday when I had already made the pick. We're going to go ahead and go with Colorado minus 2.5 against Nebraska at home. Anyone that saw the game could tell that these guys are gamers and that Prime's going to be ready, especially he's not going to disappoint in the home opener. And I'm not trying to be funny. Nebraska looked bad against Minnesota. So this one's very easy. Maybe my 5-star pick of the week. How about that? We can put 5 stars next to this one. Colorado minus 2.5. Prime gets it done. Next, we got Oregon at Texas Tech. Texas Tech lost to Wyoming. Oregon put up like a school record, like 84 points. We're going to go ahead and just take Oregon on the money line because it's such a good value, minus 234. There is no Cliff Kingsbury there at Texas Tech anymore. There's no Patrick Mahomes there. Yeah, I don't think that there's going to be a problem. Plus, Oregon's wearing their sweet-ass chrome helmets with the all-white. It's going to look really good. Give me Oregon on the money line. Next, we got an SEC school going against probably the worst fucking Pac-12 school that there is still left. Even though they surprised some people last week, I guess, because Cal wasn't that big a favorite. Give me Auburn minus 6.5. I see those boys loving it out there in California, getting to see Berkeley and all that it has to offer. Hugh Freeze gets in there and he makes a statement win over, I guess, another Power 5 team to a degree. So give me Auburn minus 6.5. Really good odds there too at minus 105. Next, we got Notre Dame at NC State. NC State can't score points. Give me Sam Hartman and Notre Dame. I like them on the money line. Just another really easy pick, in my opinion. I just don't see it. And then finally, we got the last game of the 6-pack. And a lot of people in Atlanta that went to Georgia State are going to hate me for this. But I like Connecticut as a dog on the road to come here to Atlanta and get Georgia State. And I see Jim Moore, having a little bit of a homecoming. I don't know when's the last time Jim Moore came to Atlanta. But it'll be a little bit of a homecoming. I'm sure he'll be able to tell the team this is where we're going to eat. This, that, and the third. He knows his way around the city. Who knows? You might even catch him at a local lounge or something Friday night. But give me Connecticut at Georgia on the money line as the upset of the week.
All right, so let's hit the 6-pack real quick. We got Texas and Bama over 54.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado minus 2.5. Mm-hmm. Oregon on the money line. Auburn minus 6.5. Notre Dame on the money line. And UConn on the money line.
Yep. That's how we're going.
All right, man. So now we're about to transition into NFL, and we're actually going to start doing the show this way, where we hit our early topics, then we hit our 6-packs, and then we go into the back end of the show. Back end, hey. Let's get to Parlay Pete's first NFL 6-pack of the year.
Excited to be back. I'm so glad that football is back. This is the time of the year where, a lot of different things start to change. We get into fall. We get into some Falcons football, a lot of different things. And we're going to start off with just them.
Hold on, real quick. Our friends bragging about going to the Morehouse-Howard game was one of the worst things that I read in that group text in months.
I was a little disappointed because nobody said anything either. I'm not going to lie. I was disappointed.
You weren't going to go.
I could have flew up there, honestly, and turned right back around, too. So it's like, hey, I didn't know you guys were meeting up in D.C. I get it. You guys live up there. But what made you think that the guy that flies for free wouldn't want to come? I don't know. But especially because I've been this. I went, matter of fact, all 4 years that I was in school, I went to every year. I went every year to that game. But nonetheless, I wish that they would do one here where maybe they played, if they didn't play at Georgia State Stadium, maybe they played obviously they're not going to play at Mercedes-Benz, but
they're playing. They played at MetLife last year.
Well, then they're going to this year too. Why can't we get the game here where Howard comes to Atlanta? That'd be great. But nonetheless, we're going to get this thing kicked off with our Atlanta Falcons. against the Carolina Panthers. I think that we're going to have a strong ass showing. We're going to go Falcons minus 3.5. I'm not even going to buy the point, even though it does feel like we'll end up winning the game by 3 for whatever reason. I think that the offense is going to have such a good showing that people are going to be fucking blown away by how well we play. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to tap in the Falcons at minus 3.5. Next, we got the Dallas Cowboys. That's going to be our Sunday night game. I've got the Dallas Cowboys minus 3.5 at the New York Giants. I am not a believer in what the Giants have built. I really do like Brian Daboll, but at the end of the day, the Cowboys are 10-1 against the Giants in season openers. And I think that trend not only continues, but at the end of the day, look, Cowboys are Super Bowl or bust. The head coach is on the line. The quarterback's on the line. These are two different guys that are on the line. If they can't get past a division foe like the Giants and look great while doing it, I don't expect them to do very much, but I do expect them to do very much. So we're going to take them minus 3.5. Next, we got the Baltimore Ravens. Well, the Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. Go ahead and lay that 9, guys. And look, I respect DeMeco Ryans, and I think that they're going to, make strides this year and be a better team than they were. There's no way I can go against Lamar in that season opener with Todd Monken out there running the offense, and then you've got Odell Beckham making his triumphant return, Mark Andrews, even though I know he's a little bit questionable, J.K. Dobbins, a lot of guys that haven't been playing. I expect them to come out and they start fast, and I expect that offense to put up a lot of points. So give me the Ravens minus 9. Next, we got the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. Anyone that listened to the NFL preview show should know how high I am on Green Bay this year. I like Green Bay to get it done. Give me Green Bay on the money line. I like them to go in there. I think that Jordan Love is going to be pretty good. And, that's just kind of my explanation for it. I think that Jordan Love is going to look pretty good. I'll just leave it at that. Next, we got the Las Vegas Raiders at the Denver Broncos. I'm going to take under 44.5. I expect it to be a growing pains game for both teams. Jimmy G kind of, not being a guy that's known for putting up a ton of points. And then, of course, with the Broncos, you got Russ and kind of Sean Payton. I just expect this game to be a growing pains AFC West type game, and we get to see the Denver defense shine. So we're going to take the under 44.5. Just don't just don't see a lot of scoring going on in this game. And then finally, the final pick of this 6-pack, we're going to go ahead and go with the Miami Dolphins at the Los Angeles Chargers. Give me the Dolphins at the plus odds as the dog. Really like this pick. I know that the running back situation is a little murky, but we're going to go ahead and roll with the Miami Dolphins to get it done. And if you guys want a bonus pick, just because it is week 1 and we're feeling very generous, I also like over 45 in the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. Over 44.5 Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. I expect plenty of points to get put up on the board in this game.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Take a sip after that one.
Yeah.
So we got us a 6-pack plus 1.
Yeah.
Falcons minus 3.5.
Yes, sir.
Cowboys minus 3.5.
Yep.
Ravens minus 9.
Yeah, we're laying the lumber.
Green Bay on the money line.
Yep.
Raiders at the Broncos under 44.5.
Mm-hmm.
Dolphins on the money line.
Yes, sir.
And our bonus pick, Bills and Jets over 44.5.
That's how we're rolling.
You like it? I love it.
And now it's time for Lee's 3. We really need to get those T-shirts made too.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we
and whenever we have more than just me, you, and Justice together, we need to get some audio where we do it so that you can just press the button and then it's just Lee's 3.
We've got some work we've got to get done, and we were supposed to do it in the off season, but my availability wasn't what I expected it to be. Damn you, kid. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke. I like my kid. But anyways, on the Lee's 3, I'm going all NFL. If you guys know me, you know I prefer betting on the adults than betting on the kids. So we're going to go all NFL Lee's 3 this week. Going to run the piss out of the ball. Falcons, minus 3.5. Give it to me, baby.
Big time cover, too. Big time cover.
You know, my favorite owner in the NFL is I was down in Dallas, Texas, Jerry Jones. Give me them Dallas Cowboys -3.5.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? And then lastly,
I got it out the field, fuck Russell.
give me that Raiders and Broncos under 44.5. It's going to be a fucking slobber knocker out there, and we're not going to see great offense. So give me the Raiders and Broncos under 44.5. That's your least three.
Wait, hold on. You got to give us a bonus too. And how about you make your bonus pick a college pick?
What a fuck.
You didn't look. Yeah, you didn't give us at least 3 there. So I'm just,
Okay, I got a bonus. I got a bonus pick.
It's a bonus pick from college.
I got you a bonus pick. Your bonus.
You went 3-0 last week, so you got to keep the streak going. You can't retire after 3 games.
You know what? Give me Jim Moore and UConn to come down to Georgia and fucking upset those Georgia State Panthers.
Yeah.
Only Panthers that we acknowledge in Atlanta is at Clark Atlanta.
Hey.
Don't really acknowledge them either, but it sounded really good for the podcast.
What is their thing? What do they do? I forget. Yeah, okay, it's like that. Yeah.
What are we going for here? It's 2 backward seats. No, it's a backward seat.
Well, I don't know why I thought. Well, maybe this is supposed to be like an A2 when it crosses.
Oh yes.
Look, you can actually get a free U.
Oh yeah.
I feel like when you just did that, you did the you pulled the what's his fucking name? You pulled the Chris Paul when he did the laugh and it was like, oh yeah, and then he just went straight back.
Well, I mean, shout out to Clark, man. No bad words for the institution for me. Yeah. Bless us with some great Americans. You ready to talk some NFL football?
I'm ready to talk some NFL football.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
I know we're supposed to preview the game tonight first, but fuck it. Let's talk Falcons first, man. We both picked the Falcons to cover against Bryce Young and the boys. I mean,
yeah, Brian Burns on defense.
Yeah, Brian Burns, one of the most overrated defensive players in the NFL. What are we? His best offensive weapon is maybe Miles Sanders, a guy who's never been the guy. Didn't they let Deontay Foreman walk out the door?
They did.
Yeah, I thought so. Adam Thielen is wide receiver 1.
That's a tough place to be. DJ Shark's your number 2, too. And those are guys that have injury history.
You have a coach who's called a quarterback whisperer, but his resume says he yells the plays out to the other team.
What did he whisper him to sleep? Because Phillip Rivers retired. Carson Wentz somehow got another chance, but he's not in the league. And Matt Ryan was on his last leg, and that was pretty much his lullaby that he was giving him. I mean, so what is he whispering him to sleep? I don't understand.
They give him the Nick Foles Super Bowl season. You know, when Frank Reich was the quarterback's coach. Or no, he was OC. He was OC. Take it back, he was OC.
Look, man.
Nick Foles had 2 games in that run, by the way. He only had like 2 good games. I'm not saying that to shit on
against us. He didn't have a good game against us.
No, he had a good.
They won fucking 15-10. I mean, they didn't put up any points.
In NFC Championship, he went off, and in the Super Bowl, he went off.
Yeah.
So if you get a guy to have 2 great games in the playoffs, I get it, high pressure games. If that makes you a quarterback whisperer, well then call me AC2K, okay? Like I'm the best nigga at 2K that comes out at midnight, and I will be up playing. I have not told my wife that yet, but
does it?
Yeah, you know me.
I came out at midnight.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it because like the expensive one, the $150 one, it comes with League Pass. So I go, oh yeah, this is a no-brainer. I get League Pass and I play 2K. I'll take it.
So that was an easy call on your end.
Yeah, didn't even think twice. Didn't even check in with the decision maker about it. I just said, hey, run it.
Coco Gauff just screwed me so hard.
Did she lose?
No, she won her first 2 games in the first set. And the issue is that I needed it to be tied after the first 2 games within that set. And now she's about to lose the third set, which means that she's losing her serve. And it's just kind of like, you couldn't just let her win this one and then you won the next. Whatever.
Bro, you shouldn't bet against black women, okay? And
I didn't bet against her. I just bet that it'd be fucking tied after the first 2 games. I didn't expect the other girl to lose her first serve. I didn't expect that. No.
Hey, look here. You bet against a black woman to lose a set, and you're wrong.
I am wrong.
You're gonna learn one of these days not to bet against black women.
Well, now I got to hurry up and try and redo that bet. But it's not about my bet. It's about these Atlanta Falcons and how we expect some changes, do we not? We expect this defense to look revamped, completely different. We expect this offense to flow and not just be one-dimensional, and that we've actually got some, passing ability this season. And we expect them to beat up on what I think me and you – I think we swapped out. I have Carolina coming in last in our division. I think you have Tampa, right?
Same, boss. Yeah.
And here's the crazy part. I actually expect them to both win the same amount of games. 5 or 6 wins each.
Yeah, they're in the same ballpark. It's like at the end of the night when you're ordering a tequila shot. As long as you get reposado, do you really care what kind of reposado it is?
No.
Your palate screwed. You're not tasting this shit. You're just drunk.
No, exactly.
But yeah, I think for one, we're gonna run the piss out of the ball.
Oh,
I think we're gonna show some of our flair with our offense in our newly created position of Joker. Shout out to CP.
Yep.
And their offensive line sucks, so I think we're going to rush the passer really well. Bryce Young is Isaiah Thomas's height, little IT, not big IT, and I think we're going to walk away from this game after beating the dog shit out of them and overreact to how good we think our team's going to be.
Yeah,
I still think we're 10-7, but I think we're going to walk out of this game like, oh no, we're a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Josh Hosey, buckle up. We'll see you in the playoffs in Atlanta.
Exactly, because Dallas is going to end up taking that division. Exactly. I expect us, like you said, run the piss out of the ball, but I expect that to open up the play action game. Maybe we get a Kyle Pitts sighting in the end zone, huh? Something we've only seen 3 times and twice in the United States. And we, just assurance too that knee is all right. Drake London, I think if there's one takeaway that we could take away from Desmond Ridder and Drake London is that, he was able to give him the ball at a bare minimum in those 4 games. That was probably my biggest takeaway. Okay, he can get him the ball. So I expect more of the same out of that. And then I can't wait to see kind of these new additions. I want to see what Matt Collins brings to the offense. I want to see what Johnny Smith brings when we're in the red zone. I want to see if we have a Scotty Miller signing. I feel like I haven't talked about Scotty Miller since he had that big touchdown against Green Bay in the NFC Championship. Right. That's like the last time I remember talking about Scotty Miller.
I forget talking about Scotty Miller, because we haven't talked about him leading up to the season, but Scotty Miller caught big balls in big games.
Pause. Hard. But he did, but that was also for Tom Brady, right? So can Desmond Ridder get him that same pass? I don't know.
You say same pass or same ass?
Pass. Saliva liquor.
False. But no, I agree with you, but I do think that Scotty Miller is running is in open space. Desmond Ridder get the ball close enough to him that Scotty can catch it and turn around and make a move. And to the weapons that we have, we talked about a little bit on the previous show is with Kyle Pitts, with Jonnu Smith, with Drake London. All Dez has to do is get the ball in the area code.
Yep, that's it.
So I think that, and this is how I talk myself into Dez is, can he get the ball in the area code? Yes.
I think so.
So
I don't see why he wouldn't.
So yeah, I'm optimistic. I'm happy I'm going to be in the building. Gonna have a great time.
Damn good time.
How about you wake up at a decent hour Sunday morning? Because I'll be
I don't now. Okay, well, and that was going to be another question. I guess that was going to be more of an off-air thing. When did you expect to arrive?
I'm bringing the family. The full. It's a full family trip this weekend.
Okay.
So I'll be leaving Cartersville in the morning.
Okay.
Probably like a 9 o'clock alarm type thing. Get out of the house by 9:30 ish. But with the daughter, she wakes up early, so I may be up earlier. So I may like go get breakfast, and get to the city early, even if you're asleep, and not even worry about bothering you.
Because I won't be asleep. I'm gonna be so jacked up about football and getting my bets in that I promise you, for week one, I will be up. I'm gonna be up probably 9, 8 something.
Okay, because
I'm gonna want to watch Good Morning Football. Like, I'm gonna want to watch all this stuff. You know what I mean?
And I'll tell you, Justice and I, we enjoyed watching.
And I'm sure that he'll be there too. So worst case scenario, if somehow I wasn't, he can let you in. I'm sure he would be up to. You know.
Hey, look, we've. Last thing before we go to the game tonight, if we see the Eagles in the 4-5 matchup, which I could easily see, Josh Holsey has to fly in from San Diego to the game.
Absolutely.
Like,
you're going to want the extra ticket too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that ticket's his. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, Josh, you're sitting next to me, buddy, and you're gonna hear my mouth all night, all game. Pause.
Yeah, I was about to say that one was crazy too. In reality, you're gonna hear my mouth all night. Your mind can go. Now I know what you meant, but somebody else might not know what you meant. They might be like, "Hold on, you guys went to Morehouse," and then you're gonna be like, "I'm married and have a kid," and then they're gonna be like, "That doesn't mean anything." Now, I've seen plenty of Morehouse men that are married and have kids,
and they still lead the choir.
Right.
Hey, let's get to tonight's game. What's that line at right now? Is it around about 4.5 points still, or is it dropped?
Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up.
I know, because
it's at 4 now. It's at 4.
Yeah.
It's at 4. Lines are plus 170. Chiefs are minus 200. The over-under is still at 53, but now it's went from both being minus 110 to the over being minus 105, and then the under being minus 115.
That makes sense. No Travis Kelce for the Chiefs.
No Chris Jones.
No Chris Jones. I think I'm hurting more for the absence of Travis Kelce than the Chiefs are, actually.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He's your first pick.
Yeah.
Your first. And he's a tight end, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I took a big risk in the fantasy draft this year. It's something I believed in. I believed in this drafting theory that I took, but I'm also open, and I didn't say this on the draft pod. This could very well be my worst season in the league. And
I think it's upon looking at rosters, I think you have by far the worst roster.
I had a strategy that's different than the way I normally draft a team, and I doubled down on my strategy. So if this is my bad year, hey man, the Eagles haven't been great every year, okay? Howie's bought some goodwill to have a down year.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. It was concerning because I looked at it. I was like, well, for the first 2-3 weeks, you're going to have two guys that are the starters, but they're both backup running backs. Mostert at worst, if he's not the backup, then he certainly is going to be a 50-50 guy, if Jeff Wilson is back. And then they have Devin O'Kane, too, who speedster out of Texas A&M that they took in the 3rd round. That very well could be their guy.
So
of course, with Jamal Williams, we know his standing. He is the backup to Alvin Kamara. But I feel like they will it'll be 65-35 type split.
And-
So he'll get the ball and he'll probably benefit more from the red zone anyway.
Yeah, and that's where I go. He's going to give me more fantasy points than NFL production. And I figure at some point in the season, somebody will want one of my receivers.
The Braves are kicking the absolute piss out of the Cardinals. By the way, I'm sorry. I just
It's fine.
because they've gotten their ass kicked the last two games, and I mean they're up 3-0 with no outs already, and Ronald Acuna with the leadoff home run to start things off.
I really hope that the media doesn't suck LA cock and give Mookie the MVP.
There's no way they do. No way. There's no way. There's no way you could take this award away from Ronald Acuna. It's his year. Braves are the better team. Him going to LA, he hit a home run in every game. That first game he hit that home run and got that stolen base to where he was the first 30 home run, 70 stolen bases or something like that. Something that's never been done. There's just no way that you can't give it to him.
No, it's not. But yeah, so no Chris Jones, no Travis Kelce, no Juju Smith-Schuster. Do you think Kadarius Toney shows up and does something? Do you think Justin Ross shows up and does something? Do you think Sky Moore is actually good? Mark MVS, do you think he doesn't deserve a nickname. Marquez Valdez Scantling, whatever the fuck his name is. Do you think he catches a couple of deep balls? No balls.
I think that they don't really have much of a choice but to get that stuff done today because they are going to be his options, and they still are playing with Patrick Mahomes. Look, we've seen Tom Brady play with pedestrian wide receivers and get it done himself. So I expect much of the same, if that makes any sense. I expect them to still be a functional offense. Andy Reid is still the coach. Patrick Mahomes is still the quarterback. No enemy, but what's his face is taking over, right? Yeah, so Matt Nagy's back in the saddle. I expect them to still do what they should do. Yes.
Bro, I can see them easily covering this game. I know that's not the sexy thing to say. I know that the Lions are everyone's new favorite chick on the scenes. We don't like Melissa Ford anymore. We like Sexy Red or whatever the case it is, whatever these women are. No, Krishan Rock, because Krishan Rock doesn't have talent.
Rock.
But no, I think that what we're doing here is we are understating what Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are, especially Andy Reid with a full all season. Yeah, you don't have Travis Kelce, but this man has plays for days.
Yeah,
and he doesn't win off of buys. He doesn't lose. He doesn't lose off of buys. Excuse me. He rarely loses season openers. At some point, if you guys give Patrick Mahomes a fucking piss hole, he can get that needle through it.
And I think that's what this ultimately is going to come down to. At the end of the day, this is still a well-oiled machine. They've been to 3 Super Bowls in the last 4 years.
The NFC,
they're at home. They have a good fan. They have a home field advantage. They do still have that. And the Detroit Lions are still a team that has never proven anything. This is the most hype the Detroit Lions have ever had going into any season. Even after the year when they went 10-6 and Matt Stafford threw for 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, and Calvin Johnson almost had 2,000 yards. They still have never had this type of hype going into a season where people, I'm not going to say they're saying Super Bowl, but they're like, hey, they got it cooking. This could be something type thing,
Mm-hmm. So we got that. What games for the week do you actually want to cover? We've talked Falcons. We've talked Thursday night football.
I think Chargers Dolphins is the game.
Is that the redraftable? If the Chargers go absolutely fucking nuts, we got the Dolphins going like Stephen Ross being like, man, we got the wrong guy.
Look, I think that it's going to be one of those, because they played last year too, if you remember.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, I don't know, man. I think that the Dolphins go in and they make a statement. I don't think it's going to be a redraftable thing. I think that they make a statement, but that's because, to me, tit for tat and team for team, the Dolphins are better than the Chargers. As loaded as the Chargers are, the Dolphins are still better than them. Player for player. They're better than them. They're better.
And they're better coached. I don't necessarily believe in Mike McDaniel, but I believe in Vic Fangio and him as the defensive coordinator, and what he provides on the sideline is just a senior coach. I think that the marriage of Kellen Moore and Brandon Staley is going to be heaven or hell. There's no earth, there's no purgatory. It's just heaven or hell. And I often think they're going to find themselves in hell in more situations. They're going to get bailed out by the immense talent they have on the team. But yeah. I just think they're going to get out coached. They're going to get outplayed. If Miami commits to running the football and taking opportunistic shots with their weapons and Tua, we're going to see why Tua was who he was coming out. Because I think you and I could agree that Herbert had more raw talent than Tua in college. I don't think that's a question. But Tua's ability to execute an offense, put the ball where it needs to be, when it needs to be there, I don't think that's gone away. I don't think he's had so many concussions that his processing is going to be fuzzy. Yep. So as long as Tua's upright, as long as they have a decent game plan, dog, can't catch the cheetah.
No, you can't. No, you can't. And you still got that penguin out there waddling around. You know, and let's go this way too. McDaniels is a better play caller than Brandon Staley. Let's not underestimate that. Like you said, Vic Fangio.
Kellen Moore too.
Big fucking yeah. And yeah, right. He's a better play caller than Kellen Moore. I keep forgetting that they did get Kellen Moore and that is the new OC. I see a high-scoring game, of course. Really, maybe his game. I think that's the highest over-under of this week, and I think that's maybe why I stayed away from the picks. But I definitely see a 30-point game. You know, both teams getting into the 30s or something like that. Maybe like a 37-34 type matchup. But
yeah, a Big 12 type of game.
Yeah, for sure. And look, no Jalen Ramsey for the Dolphins, so they're down. They're arguably maybe their biggest acquisition outside of Vic Fangio.
Yeah,
probably. I'd say that he was definitely player-wise the biggest acquisition that they had. So they won't have him, but they still got the cheetah. So it's gonna be looking like a fucking zoo in there with the, you know, you got a cheetah on one end and then a penguin on the other.
Yeah. I got a question for you, Parlay Pete.
I got an answer for you.
Do you think Deshaun Watson shows up week 1 and takes and goes 1-0 in division versus the Bengals?
I do, honestly. I like them, and it's not because Deshaun Watson is my fantasy quarterback this year in the league, but I really do think that the Browns, first of all, they beat them on Halloween last year. I don't think many people remember that. That was one of the last games that the Bengals had lost during that season before they had gotten to the Damar Hamlin game and then, of course, the playoffs where they lost in the AFC Championship. That was like one of the last games that they lost all year. And so I like Deshaun to come out and look more like 2020 Deshaun than last 6 games of 2022-23 Deshaun. I don't think that he is cooked like how – put it this way. I think that the Browns are in better standing with Deshaun Watson than the Broncos are with Russell Wilson. And I don't think Russell Wilson's cooked either. But I think
I got it out the field for Russell.
I think that he's much more likely to make that comeback and be the player that he was before than Russ is. So I expect that to happen. Stefanski is still a pretty good play caller. I mean, Baker Mayfield, you know, threw for 4,000 yards damn near and 30 touchdowns with Stefanski. He's got Amari Cooper. He's still got Njoku. They have the best running back in the NFL. If we're talking pound for pound, he's the best running back in the NFL. Yeah, absolutely. He's certainly the most consistent. So you got that. You pair that with a pretty good defense. Myles Garrett, of course, DPOY candidate, always going to be hovering there. I just expect them to come out and get that upset win. Joe Burrow is coming off of, you know, a weird knee injury he suffered the first week of like practice. And so I don't know. Games in Cleveland, Dog Pound's going to be there. Big game in Ohio, but I like Deshaun Watson to look like Deshaun Watson gold.
I think Deshaun Watson with a full off season with that team. He played some games last year, so he got live bullets thrown at him. He's going to come back and be himself. Now, what I do appreciate about this 1 o'clock window, it's fucking trash.
Well, and of course we'll be good because we're going to be watching.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I love that it's trash, because we're going to be at the game. Like, nothing is worse than a great 1 o'clock window when we're at the Falcons game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we got Ravens, Texans. You know how we feel about that. We got Browns, Bengals. That's going to be a good game. We got Jags, Colts. I don't expect that game to be entertaining. We got Tampa Bay, Vikings. Ew. But in the 4 o'clock window, actually, no. I'm sorry. I apologize. We got Saints, Titans in the 1 o'clock window. And probably the game of the 1 o'clock window is the fucking Steelers, 49ers. I like the Steelers because I didn't realize this was a 1 o'clock window game until earlier today. And 49ers are crossing country. And yeah, we got
today or tomorrow morning. They're going to be there.
They're going to be there. But you know, those West Coast teams struggle playing in that 1 o'clock window. Like, you should always.
But does Joey Bosa getting his fat ass contract, does that hinder him from hitting Kenny Pickett? I don't think so. Does Kyle Shanahan change up his offense just because he sees TJ Watt?
Does that pass rush get to Brock Purdy and maybe bring him back to earth?
That would be maybe the biggest question mark of that game, is going to be how comfortable is Brock Purdy coming off of that? That's like the only question that I would really have in that game. I like the 49ers. I understand the Steelers. There's a reason why Vegas has them as a dog, because the 49ers, player for player, are better than them.
Absolutely.
Quarterback, you could argue, is maybe a wash, especially if Brock Purdy's not 100%. Like you could argue that that's certainly a wash. I like Christian McCaffrey over Najee Harris.
Yep.
Debo, George Kittle. That's a physical team too. They are an NFC version of an AFC North team. They're a physical team too, and they've got better play calling. Mike Tomlin's not the biggest X's and O's guy. Not to piggyback off of a guy like Jew. Jew loves to trash his own coach for whatever reason. That's done nothing but have winning records this year. But yeah, I get why. I know why. But I expect. Look at this. Coco Gauff screwing up more bets. Oof. Sorry, I had to take a peek at that. But nonetheless, well, because then I took the under in the match, and now she's giving up ass. And it's just like, why are you giving up ass? But
she's horny.
She needs to quit giving up ass, okay? Don't need her giving up the ass like that. But either way, yeah, I expect it to probably be the best game in the 1 o'clock window by far. Actually, the is close second, and I think we're low-key third.
Yeah, Do you think Cardinals Commanders might be one of the worst games of the year? I think the commie's blown out. Any worse?
I'm just trying to think of what last place matchup will we just all be like, man, I don't want to watch this garbage.
We got Rams Cardinals. I think we got a Cardinals Texans game.
Yeah, so I think that's probably as low as it gets. Where's the game is the better question. Is it in Arizona to at least make it a little entertaining because it's a road game for them? Or if it's in Houston, then I don't.
Oh wait, I don't know. I don't got that schedule up, but the Cardinals are going to Washington. Maybe your boy Chase Young earned the contract. In the 4 o'clock window, we have Packers, Bears. We've already talked about that a little bit with the bets. That's in the 4 o'clock window because of ratings.
Yeah.
We've got Denver versus the Raiders. We talked about a little bit about that. We think there's going to be no offense. We open up with the Dolphins and Chargers. We got Pats and Eagles on Brady Day. Do you think the Brady Day and it being in New England brings on a different level of energy and Bill Belichick having the entire offseason to plan for Jalen Hurts maybe brings that New England defense out fucking humming?
I think that they know that that's going to be a big piece of the game. Hold on 1 second. I do think that that's going to be a big part of it. You got Brady back in the house. You got really a team that's kind of desperate to a degree as a franchise. I mean, they made the playoffs 2 years ago. They didn't make it last year, had a chance to. All they had to do was beat the Bills. They weren't going to be able to get that done. And you're looking at a Patriots team that's, not used to this. They're not used to being the team that's projected to come in last place in their own division. When's the last time the Patriots were projected to come in last place? I don't even think that the first year after Brady, they were projected to be the last place team in that division, right? So now you've got Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Tua, and you're still stuck with Mac Jones. And it's just kind of like one of those things where that defense certainly has to make a statement. And I think that Bill Belichick's going to take a page out of Arthur Smith's book, and they're going to run the piss out of the ball. They picked up Ezekiel Elliott for a reason. The expectation is that he's going to be able to help them in the red zone, of course, be a better Damian Harris, because that's who they had last year, while Ramondre Stevens is more of your 20-20 guy, right? And more of your passing game back. Zeke can get active in the pass. I don't think Zeke's cooked either, by the way. But I expect them to play keep away ball and good defense. And that Patriots-Eagles game, in a weird way, they're almost like a rivalry too. I mean, they faced off in 2 different Super Bowls.
Yep. Probably
the 2 best teams Giants, I don't know. But in terms of just historically, maybe the 2 better teams in the Northeast. I guess maybe the Giants are better than the Eagles historically. But
recently, though. No.
Yeah, but recently, yeah. 2 well-ran organizations going against each other. And I expect Bill and them to set the tone. I know I didn't put it in my picks, but honestly, I've been trending more towards taking the Pats +4.
We got to get Jason Garrett off the TV. That man ain't good.
See, I'm not watching anything. I don't have a TV on in here.
I got it on, but I'm not watching. I'm looking at the schedule. We got Rams and Seahawks. I think Seahawks beat the dog piss out of the Rams. Cooper Kupp, hamstring, not going to be seen for a while.
Yeah.
Great draft pick. And then our good old 8 o'clock game. The good old Chris Collinsworth special. Got a little Jason Garrett on the pregame, a little Tony Dungy.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Dak and the Cowboys headed to New York. I mean, what is better than that on an opening Sunday night, Mike?
No. He might fuck up and say, ow.
No, well, think about it. Well, we're going to have to wait for Al. I don't even know who the Thursday night game is next week. I think it's like Minnesota and somebody. But I think it's a short week game. It's like Minnesota, I think, right? I think it's like Minnesota.
It's not Minnesota, Philly.
Oh, wow. It's at Minnesota, right?
No, it's at Philly.
It's at Philly. Ooh, that doesn't look good. Minnesota better take care of business against Tampa then. At that 1 o'clock slate. But because if the Eagles lose that Patriots game, they're gonna beat the shit out of them. They're gonna get to hang up that NFC Championship banner, and Philly fans, they're gonna get excited about it because they're gonna really think that they're gonna go back to the Super Bowl again this year, and they're just gonna put up another one plus another banner to go along with another one of those NFC Championship banners. But
hey, real quick, and that takes me back to something that popped up in our group text this week.
Coco Gauff might lose this first set. I'm just throwing that out there. She was up 5-1, and now it's 5-4, and the other girls got the serve.
So here's one thing I don't like, and it popped up in our Falcons post from Mr. Turner. I've heard it nastily too many times. The Falcons went 11-5 after the Super Bowl season.
10-6.
10-6. Sorry, we went.
But we were the 6 seed. Think about it. We were a 10-6 seed.
We went 10-6.
We beat the team that ended up going to the Super Bowl the next year. That was clearly on the rise. The Rams. Sean McVay, Todd Gurley. Jared Goff. We shut that shit down. And they didn't score on us at home. I was at that game. Me and Josh.
Me and Josh
Hosey were at that game.
and we lost to Philly on a pass that went in between Julio's hands. Probably worried about catching something else after the game. And I say that to say, for one, the Falcons didn't fall off the face of the earth after the Super Bowl. And two, getting back to that Super Bowl is so hard. And it's inches, not miles. But those inches can get you sent home in the second round of the playoffs in a game that you should have won.
Absolutely. That's and the NFL schedule, it plays out like that to where you got to be perfect in a weird way. Like things have to fall in line for you to win a Super Bowl, let alone get to one. Things have to fall in line. You got to be healthy. Something that the Eagles did a really good job of last year too. Nobody talks about how they didn't really have any injuries on that team last year. I know that Jalen Hurts missed like 2 games at the end of the year. And one of them was really more of a precautioned, he could have played in the game. They just sat him out type shit. So, yeah. And he didn't look any different come playoff time anyways. Now, granted, they had that first round bye, another beneficiary of things falling your way. You won enough games to where you could have sat him and you didn't necessarily have to play him. And so it's a war of attrition, is it not? And they just so happen to have had a historic defense that had 70 fucking – I mean, that stuff doesn't happen every year. Your quarterback's not going to rush for 15, 14 touchdowns every year. Like that stuff, it doesn't happen. Look at Cam Newton.
Hey, you got to hit the fucking the chat, not the comments. But
I know.
As we close this out, last game is Jets-Bills. I think this game sets the pace for the NFC East, the AFC East and the AFC as a whole. I think these two will be two of the better teams in the AFC. And based on what we talked about last week, y'all know I believe in a JETF, Jets. Enough said. Yo, look at MetLife getting 2 games in one fucking weekend. That field's gonna be terrible.
It's gonna be terrible. That stadium already kind of sucks. Like that is for that to be technically one of the newer stadiums. I know it's probably 50. It's probably getting close to 15 years old now, but like, gosh, it looks like I don't know if it even looks like it was built in 08. Like, because the Arizona Cardinal Stadium is a nice stadium. I think it's a nice stadium. Yeah, I think theirs is still pretty nice. In comparison to something like the Giant Stadium just looks like piss. I don't know. Like the Georgia Dome, if it was still standing today, would look better than that stadium. Oddly enough.
Hey, it's expensive to build stuff up there, so
I get it. Well, that's why they built it in New Jersey, though, instead. I mean, they couldn't put it in Manhattan, so that's why they built it in New Jersey. So technically, that's New Jersey,
It's a Jersey thing. Hey, man, I ain't got nothing else for you. You got anything else for the pod?
I think that's going to be it for this week. Excited for football season to be back. I can't wait. Man, let's go football.
Hey, yeah, let's go football. Rise up, and I actually like this because if we record like this every week, we only got like one episode, like just 1 hour that we're putting out.
Yeah, probably got to be one of the shortest ones.
Yeah, but hey, man, I'll see you Sunday morning. Get ready for some Falcons football.
Let's do it. Just text me and let me know everything.
All right, we'll do.
All right, salutations, good people.
Are all here to do what Falcons